Trump been convicted of. That's not true. There is no proof that the election was stolen. But how do we explain the huge difference in mail-in? That is probably the simplest question you could ask there, MD Ryder. How do we explain the huge difference in mail-in? Trump and many other Republicans told the folks on the right, conservative voters, the constituents on that side, that mail-in voting was not secure. So most folks on the right didn't mail in votes. Most of the mail-in votes are coming from the left because the right said that this is not a good way to vote. Even as we speak, many on the right are suggesting that we get rid of mail-in ballots, mail-in voting methods completely. Folks on the right don't trust the mail-in method. That's why most of the mail-in votes had a huge discrepancy in favor of the Liberal Party. The right didn't use it. Looking in the comments, please move to Russia. What city? Red G. Certainly has spoken before. Pleasure. Red G, welcome back to the program. We're just chopping it up. Why should I vote for Trump?
Oh, I don't have an answer for that. I wanted to expound upon the election rigging.
Sure.
So we have evidence that the DOJ, even Biden and Hillary, have been instructing social media platforms on what they can and cannot do. That's clear election rigging.
When did this happen?
This is happening still right now.
No. We're talking about the 2020 election. Trump said.
Yeah, so in 2016, all the way, they've been doing it the entire time. They're in court right now. They literally stopped this year, 2024.
So you got evidence. What was taking place? Give me what you said happened again.
So the Biden and Clinton administration, they've been doing this for a long time.
Wait, you're saying the Biden administration? There was no Biden administration in 2016.
So you got to let me finish the sentence. They've been giving directives to social media companies for the last 20 years. They've been telling them what people can and can't say. They've been breaching freedom of speech, the First Amendment, this entire time. They're literally in court for it right now.
Okay. Now, go ahead. You got a little bit more? Go ahead.
And so we can see that Trump has been taken off Twitter. We can see all of the things that they've been doing. It's clear.
Okay, now here's my pushback. You mentioned social media companies are receiving directives from both Biden and Clinton.
The Supreme Court mentioned it.
Okay, well, in response, why would the social media companies take a directive from somebody who's not in power? 20 years ago, Hillary Clinton, go ahead.
So the President Biden, the Vice President Biden at the time when Biden was doing it, Obama, Clinton, the whole DNC, they've been doing this for years.
Why didn't Trump undo it?
I don't know. I don't think Trump is a mastermind or good at anything. I don't think he has any political friends. I don't think he has anywhere near the pull that the DNC does.
Do you think he should be president?
I would rather not see Trump or Biden be president.
Okay.
I don't want any more 80-year-olds, honestly.
So you believe that if Clinton and Biden was telling the social media giants what to do, that alone constitutes theft of the election?
Yes. So the problem is that first they're violating the First Amendment, freedom of speech. And secondly, that they're pushing what Americans see in the media. That the reason that is the very First Amendment is for this specific purpose. And now we're sitting here in 2024 when they're pushing for states to take them off the ballot. Like, this is, if Russia was doing this, we would have a problem with it.
Well, here's my issue though. Facebook, Twitter, all of these, because I know Twitter, some of it had been proven that they were taking folks, comments down or whatever. These are private companies though. If the owner of Facebook,
the problem was the directives were given by government.
Okay, but they don't have to listen. They don't, just like you got cities that want gun laws blocked. They don't have to listen if the law don't require it. The law doesn't require Mark Zuckerberg to listen to what Hillary Clinton or Biden is telling them. They don't have to listen to that.
Do you recognize how ridiculous that is?
Let me give you a little bit more to maybe undo the ridiculousness of it. Apple, the company that makes the iPhones, Apple was asked to give folks information up to help the FBI out with some of their things, and they refused to do it. They took them to court, stood on their grounds, and they didn't have to do it. They don't unlock phones. Mark Zuckerberg did not have to do that. Why does it sound ridiculous?
So, and because what you're moving the goalposts here. We know that there's a First Amendment, and we understand that we have a government who has said that they would protect it. And now you're moving the goalposts here, saying, no, it doesn't matter if they told them what to do. It doesn't matter if they threatened them. It doesn't matter if the government did this, which is ridiculous. Just
Now, I don't know why that caller got removed. I wanted to really continue talking to that person. They removed him from the conversation. I don't know if somebody reported him or what. Now he's claiming that the Supreme Court is suggesting that folks, the likes of Biden and Clinton, was telling the social media companies what to do. I'm not going to immediately dismiss that. We know the social media companies lean left. That is possible. Now, the only pushback I have to him is it's not illegal to do that. That he was going down the road of First Amendment free speech, which is something that I personally defend. However, TikTok does not have to let you say what you want to say. They proved it to him while he was still saying it. So the idea that a private company directing their media, what they're talking about, in favor of folks on the left. That's what he's suggesting. Facebook and all of these folks were squelching negative liberal stories and making Trump look bad. Totally possible. But I don't see where that's a crime. It's a private entity. You don't have to use Facebook. You don't have to use X or Twitter or any of these sites. And you damn sure should not only be getting your news from social media. So I don't, as bad as that sounds, limiting one of these companies from doing that, no different than the NFL suggesting that an athlete shouldn't take a knee. That's also covered by free speech. I don't want to go to a game and see politics. Maybe somebody doesn't want to log into Facebook and see right-wing politics. This is what I'm talking about. Understand it can go either way. So I don't believe what Facebook, if he is correct, I don't believe that is a violation of the law. And I certainly won't put it in the category of saying it stole the election. I just don't buy that. But I do believe it's a possibility what he said could be happening. And I would never have banned that individual. If you could file an appeal, you may win that. You shouldn't have been banned. Looking in the comments, and I see Red G says it's upheld by law. Is it upheld by law that anybody who says whatever they want on Facebook has the right to say it and Facebook can censor it? I don't believe that's true at all. I absolutely don't believe that's true, but let me know. All right, we're going back to the box. We'll go to Slick Mike, I think was holding on. The Tweety Girl said it's not true. Yeah, I don't think you can force Facebook or Twitter or any of these social media sites to let you say whatever you want. I don't believe you can do that. Slick Mike, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, young fella?
I'm doing good. What do you think? You think the 2020 election was stolen?
No, it wasn't. I mean, like you said, if there was evidence, they would have put it in court and they would have got it.
What about what my last caller said is that the likes of Clinton and Biden was trying to direct what you could see on social media, and that counts as theft?
Well, the thing is, that wouldn't sway the election and everything. People make up their own minds and everything. And to say that just Democrats do something and the Republicans don't is plain senseless.
Yeah. And now, I don't know if I totally agree with you that it couldn't sway some voters' thought process, but I do agree with you 100% that folks on the right like Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, who are also media outlets, do the same damn thing in reverse. I completely agree with that.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, they keep crying and everything, it was stolen. So, no, it wasn't. And everything. The main reason we had mail-in ballots is because of the pandemic. Yep. And a lot of people don't realize a lot of mail-in ballots come from servicemen overseas, servicemen and women from overseas. So to say you're going to stop mail-in ballots is trying to say that we're not going to let veterans or we're not going to let service members vote.
So let me push back on a couple of things you're saying with some of what's coming out of the comments. Ain't no way Biden won the last election. Why do you think folks suggest that? If you believe Trump did not have the election stolen from him, why do you think so many people believe that there's no way possible Biden could have won?
They're just brainwashed by Trump that, you know, anything he says, they're going to believe. If you go back to the 2016 election, Trump would not accept the results. He wouldn't even say he would certify the election if he ended up losing, because the polls kept saying that Hillary was ahead. And then when he came up and won, oh, everything's great. Hey, I love this country. I'd like to do like this. If it was so crooked back then, it's crooked now. I just got out of federal prison. I know all about crooks and all kind of things that people do.
Fair
enough. I'm serious and like that. And the thing is, anybody that says it was stolen, they just can't accept facts and everything. Trump, hey, the pandemic ruined Trump and everything. I mean, yeah, he took over a good economy. He did okay. But the thing is and everything, he took over a good economy. When Obama took over, the housing market had destroyed the economy and he had to rebuild it. When Biden took over, the pandemic had ruined the economy and he had to take over.
So how do you view, if you're admitting the pandemic is what destroyed Trump's economy, how do you think Trump did as president?
Pitiful.
Pitiful?
Pitiful.
Why do you say that?
Because he got up there, he boasted that he was going to do this and do that, and he didn't do it. He said he was going to lock Hillary up. He didn't even get charges brought against her. He said he's going to build a wall and Mexico going to pay for it. They took funds out of the Defense Department to pay for that. And it's not a wall. Anytime you got holes in a steel railing like that that people can cut through, that's not a wall. Oh, if you want to look at a wall, look at the wall of China. There ain't nobody digging through that thing. Like that. All they put down is a big fence like that. He even said that, because Obama didn't pardon, but he gave clemency to 1,700 some people. He said he was going to get 2,000 to 3,000 people, and yet he only did about 100 of his own little close buddies and everything. That's all he did.
All right, fair enough.
He bragged about he's so good and all like that. No, he's not. He's just a spoiled little rich kid that's never had nobody say no to him, and he can't stand people going against him.
Wow.
Hey, if you get a chance, you see my name there, go to TikTok, look at my videos. I won't call him his name. I call him Little Donnie because that's all he is a spoiled little kid, and he needs to grow up.
All right, Slick. I will definitely give you a follow and go. I want to come check that out, but I do got to move it. I'm having a short lie today, but Slick Mike.
That's fine. Hey, I appreciate you letting me on.
Anytime.
You're a fine young man. You keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for the accolade. All right, moving the program on. How much were groceries and gas under Trump? Less than they are now. Less than they are now. And that's one of the things folks favor from the Trump economy and why they believe Trump would be a better commander-in-chief than what we have now. Is the reduced inflation and also the global conflicts that are going on. People are blaming Biden for that. Some of it I disagree because some of it just simply doesn't make sense how it's being explained, but that is why a lot of folks favor Trump over Biden. Looking in the comments, you'd be paying the same thing if he'd been reelected. So in other words, if Trump was still in office, the economy would be exactly where it is today. I don't know if I buy that. I really don't know if I buy it. I think that some things are done, regardless if Trump or Biden is in office, by folks that favor the guy who's not in office, whether it's Trump or Biden, that can hurt the country. I do believe people do that. Like, for instance, if Trump had been the one proposing universal health care, we would have it. There are plenty of folks on the right that utilize universal health care, but you don't want it if it comes from the opposition. So I don't know if the economy would be the same because we'd have to look at every metric of why it is the way it is now. I do believe some companies or some corporations or some entities where you're paying more for stuff might be willing to make different judgment if they favored the current president. I think Trump could reach out to certain people and they would do things differently, and I believe Biden has people he could reach out to and they would do things differently. Trump did create an optimism in the business community that wasn't present under Obama. That optimism was probably his greatest influence on the economy, so not much. Now, I do believe that if you're offering business owners huge tax cuts, little to no regulation, if I'm a business owner, I like that. Now, I do Uber videos, for instance. It's something I do on the side. Uber is a perfect example of a company that is thriving due to no regulation, little to no regulation. But the Uber drivers are constantly complaining and being really just fucked over. So there's pros and cons to it. But yeah, I do believe business owners are going to favor anybody that's talking about less regulation. Maybe I want to dump my waste in a nearby pond. Well, the heavy regulation prevents that. Less regulation doesn't. I mean, that's what folks would suggest is why they had that train disaster in Ohio. They deregulated the railroad so much. You get this huge train over a mile long where only two people are needed to operate it. More regulation may require a separate engineer, maybe another guy at the back. They may have added more eyes and ears in the pile, and they could see more things. But when you start cutting back regulation, the first thing businesses are going to do is see that as a way of saving money, and they start cutting back employees, which can expose certain dangers, which is what some folks will say happened in Ohio. Look it in the comments. Deregulation was great. Yeah, deregulation works in certain industries and others it does not. I mean, there are certain, you want deregulation in the airline industry? They can use any type of tire to land on they want. They don't have to have the steel in the landing gear to measure up to a government standard. They can just do whatever they want. You want deregulation when you get on the plane? There are certain industries where without regulation, it would be bad. Hunting is a perfect example. If I make money off of hunting an animal, I'm going to take out every animal I see as long as people will buy the fur or the ivory or whatever, and to the point where they're extinct. If you don't regulate me, if my goal is to make money, I'm going to keep shooting these things. You need regulation in certain industries because people who are making money are only focused on making money. Going back to the box. And someone in the comments said, hunting, LOL, you don't know business. Fishing industry, whether it's seafood, do you really think that people who are fishing for lobster would care if it's a small one or a big one? They're going to take all of those. There is a reason why some animals are now extinct. Perhaps you don't know business. Going back to the box. Zach Rogers, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Mitsubishi and the bluefin tunas. Is that what happened there? That's why we have hunting seasons. Yeah. No regulation would mean you could hunt year round. There would be no seasons. You would be able to hunt year round. There would be no concern with making sure the animals had enough time to procreate and make sure there's more. You would just keep going at it. You wouldn't have any end. And by the way, that was one of the issues, and I'll go back to the box if it's open, but that was one of the issues during the era of colonization that the Native Americans complained about. They're just killing these animals for the sake of killing them. Whereas the Native Americans would use the hide, they would use the meat, they would make weapons and tools out of the bones. They used every bit of that animal. The colonists might just shoot it for sport. You need regulation. I'm just pointing that out. Without regulation, some industries, Flint, Michigan, and that water, that would be happening everywhere. If I have a business, government regulation requires I do X with my waste. To do X, it costs thousands of dollars. I got to have a professional waste company, all of this. Without regulation, I can dump it anywhere. just go into a neighborhood that's mostly vacant and put it in the nearest lawn. That's what I would do to save a ton of money if there was no regulation. That's what was happening in this country before they had regulation. You think these three-letter organizations materialized out of nowhere, the EPA, the FDA, back when they were telling you cigarettes were healthy for you? They came because corporations without regulation don't really give a damn about you. They'll tell you whatever they have to make money. Looking in the comments, if they aren't our wars, why is Biden sending a lot of money for the wars? Because they benefit America. Most of the people in Washington believe that a weaker Russia is beneficial to America. And if you can get a weaker Russia without any loss of U.S. lives, the overwhelming majority of politicians in Washington support that. Really, the only ones that are not in favor of continuing to assist the Ukrainians is MAGA. The Democrats are in favor of doing it, and the traditional Republicans continue being in favor of sending weapons and assistance to the Ukrainians. All of our allies are in favor of doing it. I don't think there's one ally out there that is saying, let them fend for themselves. It is strictly MAGA that is against helping out the Ukrainians. And when Joe Biden had his speech the other day and suggested some world leaders are pulling him to the side and telling him, you know, if he gets reelected, my country is going to disappear, that was Zelensky. He didn't have to say it was the president of Ukraine, but that was Zelensky. Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, basically was telling them, if Trump gets elected, our country is over with. He said it without saying it. Looking in the comments, they hit a NATO country, and Poncho better be at the Army recruiter ASAP. I'm assuming Poncho is in reference to an immigrant from a Hispanic country. If they hit a NATO country, Poncho better be at an Army recruiter ASAP. Yikes. By the way, there's a lot of folks that are in our military that don't have citizenship. There are already Hispanics in our military. Some of them do not get citizenship until they're deceased, posthumously. Some have lost their lives in war and did not get citizenship until after they were dead. But we already have folks that fit your narrative in the military. And Poncho, Poncho said, I'm a citizen. Is that the same person? Poncho, okay, all right. Poncho is all right, fair enough. I got that one wrong on you, Poncho. Thank you for your service, Poncho. If you're going to be, if you're going to get in line, we would appreciate your service if you were. Biden is destroying America, says Dog. I say it on every live. I don't buy into Armageddon politics. The economy under Biden may not be something we favor. But when I look at America in 2023, and I compare it to 2018, a year after Trump was in office, when Trump was bragging that America was doing the best it ever has been. If I compare 2024, if I compare America right now in January 2024 to what it was like in 2018, it doesn't look like it's being destroyed. There are facets of this country right now that many of us don't favor, particularly the economy. I pointed that out. But to skip to the point where it is quote unquote being destroyed is what I refer to as Armageddon politics. America's been a hell of a lot worse than it is now. We went from $2 gas under Trump to what, about $2.90 right now? Maybe the price of groceries is up 20, 30%. It's not being destroyed. Let me see Americans sitting on their porch, finishing off their dog because there's no food. Let me see it look like the Gaza Strip, where you got people in line because they can't get fresh water. America's nowhere near being destroyed. Compared to the rest of the planet, even after 4 years or 3 years of Biden, you tell me where America stands if you would compare it to other countries on the planet. Destroyed? That is way above and beyond what's going on under the Biden administration. Food prices went up a little bit, gas and inflation has went up. Folks, we've been there before. We've had higher interest rates than we do now. We've had higher gas prices than we do now. This isn't being destroyed. That's going way above and beyond what's happening. But it works if you support Trump. Just like things work, the racism card, things like that work if you support Biden. It's called fear-mongering. Simple as that. It's called fear-mongering. Paint Biden out as if he's going to bring back the Great Depression, and people who care about the economy won't vote for him. But that's not going to happen. You've had 4 years of Biden. We're nowhere near that. Looking in the comments real quick, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Get your boy up to around 30,000. Got about 500 of you in here. It's an abbreviated live, but looking in the comments, RJ says, yep, we had over $4 a gallon under Obama. Yeah, and under Bush, we had some pretty expensive gas also. After Bush served 8 years, a lot of folks were totally willing to vote in McCain. They didn't think Bush destroyed the country. And we had a bad economy under George W. Bush. Nobody said he destroyed the country. Look, you can point out the flaws of a commander-in-chief without getting into the realm of ridiculous. It's always Democrats who bring massive inflation. I've heard the opposite. I've heard just the opposite. I don't think the inflation rates under George W. Bush were great. When Obama became president, when he was sworn in office in January of 2009, I don't remember people bragging about how great the economy was after 8 years of a Republican in power. I don't remember that. Maybe I'm forgetting something. I think both presidents, there are times where things can go wrong under both presidents, but the idea that you're guaranteed to get a better economy with a Republican in office, I don't buy that. Democrats fix the messes Republicans make. I've heard people say that before too. Trump said when Democrats are in charge, the economy is better. You know, that's a great statement. No breaks. Trump is actually on video, and he wasn't a kid. He was a grown-ass man deep into his business empire, caught on video saying when the Democrats are in power, the economy is better. He's also on video saying the Republican Party is not as intelligent. He's never asked God for forgiveness in his life. He's on video saying that sometimes you got to take away firearms and then give people due process. He's on video saying, why would anybody need an AR-15? He banned bump stocks. How the hell does this stuff not matter? If we can remember, vote for me or you ain't black, how does these comments not matter? That I can rip them off like that. This ain't accusations like shithole countries and things like that. He's on video saying this stuff. Every comment I just made, he's on video saying that. How does that get by? If we can bring up Biden and his crime bill back in the 1990s, Kamala Harris and what she did in California, or Biden and Senator Byrd who died 14 years ago, how does Trump get a pass for that stuff? I don't get that. Central Park Fab before he was president, yeah. Somebody, Susan Johnson said Trump was right. Was he right about that? The Republican Party is not as intelligent. The economy is better. You know, because I actually own a Trump was right about everything hat. Now, I've never been one of those Jimmy Kimmels or, some of these comedians, Colbert, and they go out and they interview folks and they ask them questions and they make them look stupid. But the Trump was right about everything hat. If you start showing them some of these old videos, you have to ask, was he right about this too? I mean, because these are quotes that Trump made, that Democrats have better economies. I mean, he's on video saying it. Was he right about it? Look at it in the comments. Trump changed his mind when Democrats were giving to other countries and outside programs. Fair enough, and that's likely true. But if Trump can change his mind, then why are we holding Biden accountable for what happened in the 90s and the crime bill and all of that? Is it possible he could change his mind? Just understand everything works both ways. Going back to the box, Noja. Is that say Noja? I can't pronounce that. Noja. Tim, you have snow where you are. No snow yet, but it is on the way. Is that am I pronouncing it right? Noja?
That's Jason spelled backwards.
Oh shit! I think we talked before.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We have.
So
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. Why, why should we vote for Trump? Trump folks say that Trump is a better president. Why should we go with him?
People vote because first and foremost, I wouldn't vote for Trump for nothing in the world. All right. So
$2 gas, you wouldn't vote for him?
no, because Trump has stated why he wants to be president again, because he want to go out there as enemies. It's a personal vendetta.
Wow.
Right.
So you think if Trump is president, he's going to be on a mission of revenge?
Yeah, it's a mission of revenge.
Mm.
I mean, we've seen this movie before. Okay, we've seen the movie before.
Have we ever we've had a president that was on a mission of revenge?
No, I'm just talking about Trump. It's just Trump himself. Just
Okay.
Somebody like Trump.
All right.
You're gonna get the same wash, repeat type politics from him.
Oh,
Right?
hang on. Hold on one second. No, I think you can get dinner. All right, you can do it. All right, you can do it. All right. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Because you think about it, people's lives didn't really change under Trump. His Trump support, they life never changed.
Well,
Because if
go ahead.
their life didn't change, like my life didn't change. My life went on just, all that changed pretty much in people's life was COVID under Trump.
So let me ask you this then. If folks' life didn't change under Trump, now that gas and the cost of groceries and things shot up, has it changed for the worse under Biden?
Well, you have to also understand, that's a good question. That's a good question. Because they always say that a president's policy doesn't really kick in until after they're gone,
Right.
right? Because you have to think about the deal with OPEC. You know what I'm saying? When Trump was
Right.
under.
Right.
Because there was a deal when he made with OPEC, they kind of drove the gas prices up. Because he told them to stop pumping gas, stop pumping petroleum.
Yeah, but let me. This is what I want to ask.
They don't talk about that.
No, but here's what I want to say.
I'm sorry.
But here's what I want to say. And NC, thank you for those cranes. I absolutely appreciate that. Thank you. What I want to say is this: I strongly believe. Now, while I agree that the guy in office now can have issues from the economy of the last guy, I'm one of those people who believe wins and losses are attributed to the coach, no matter what the players are doing. If your team is winning and you're the coach, you get credited for the win. If they lose, you don't get to blame the player. In my opinion, when you take the reins, when Biden became president, you know what Trump has set forth. If it goes well, Biden is going to be saying, during my watch, the economy was great. If it goes bad, he's going to be saying it's Trump. I don't buy that. To me, whatever happens, you're responsible for it.
That's true. I'll say that because when Trump became president,
I'm assuming my caller got muted. All right, we'll move it on. Apparently, he had a phone call. The mute pops up when something happens like that. Look into the comments, though. If Trump wins, the government will be at war and the nation will suffer as a result. You think if Trump wins, we're going to go straight into a civil war? Now, here's the issue. If Trump wins, MAGA is obviously going to be in the streets celebrating. So if Trump wins and we go into some type of war, that means it's the liberals that are not capable of handling a fair and free election. So understand what you're saying. MAGA is not going to be attacking anybody if Trump wins. At least I don't see any reason why they would be doing. Why would you be pissed off if you won? They would be out in the street celebrating. So you're basically saying if Trump wins, the liberals ain't going to be able to handle it, unless I'm misinterpreting that. I think if he loses, we're going into a civil war. Says Lil. Now, I could see more of that happening. Not necessarily because MAGA cannot handle a free and fair election, but I don't believe Trump would admit it being free and fair. I don't think there is a possibility for the Democrats to win without Trump saying that it was stolen. I just don't think he's going to accept a loss no matter what happens. He's going to say it was not handled properly, and that could indeed lead to some civil unrest. Snoop and Willie Nelson in 2024. How old is Willie Nelson? And you talk about Biden not being within his faculties. We know them two are high as fuck. So what do you mean, Snoop and Willie Nelson? What if Trump puts all the same stuff he did in 2020? What if Trump pulls all the same stuff he did in 2020? Well, if he loses, that could happen. Hopefully not. But there's two issues at play. Trump is more skilled in how government runs now, and government is more skilled in what to expect from Trump. So my guess is if Trump were to lose in 10 months, this November, there's not going to be an issue with who sends the National Guard if they call for a protest. The liberals are going to make sure there are tons of National Guard there, because now we know what to expect. All of this peaceful protest, love fest shit, people know what folks are capable of. So Trump knows the government better now because he's made a few mistakes, and the government now knows Trump better because they've seen what he's capable of. So I don't think that 2020 would work as well. I think that a lot of people would get together and probably try to stop Trump that are in government, because keep in mind, regardless of what people are telling you in 2024, I'm talking about folks on the right side of the aisle, right-wing senators, right-wing Congress people, regardless if they support Trump or not, they didn't feel safe on January 6th. My guess is if Biden was to win the election again, and they were having the next inauguration in January of next year, it would be happening somewhere around this time next year, obviously. They're not going to come to Washington if Trump is throwing a protest without a ridiculous amount of security. Trump cannot throw another protest in Washington. What probably would deny his permits to begin with. But if he got a permit to throw a protest in Washington, it's going to be security everywhere. They're going to treat it like it's a terrorist event. They wouldn't trust the folks after what happened last time. And it's not liberals. I'm talking about even Republican senators in Congress would be like, I don't want to be there with that shit. The chances of something kicking off is too great. Looking in the comments, Trump can cry about anything he wants. Are you serious? Well, yeah, I'm very serious. Beeman Freestyle. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Beeman. Asking that question, why should we vote for Trump versus Biden? Beeman, good afternoon. Good evening.
Yes. Biden's in charge of
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. You got background noise.
I just turned it off. I didn't know it was coming straight in, but I'm sorry. What were you just saying?
Why? Because folks are suggesting Biden is not getting it right. Why should folks vote for Trump?
Why should folks vote for Trump? Oh man, I guess I'm the wrong one to call on for that.
Okay, why should they vote for Biden? Then let's do it the other way. Why should they vote for Biden?
I mean, right now, to be honest with you, I'm gonna just take the obvious choice. It's to me, it's the lesser of the two evils. Now, you were talking about January 6th earlier, and yet today,
Right.
and I just had to get on this. People didn't believe me on here. They laughed, but they didn't believe me. I was on here before, and I told you that people actually believed that he gave them the stimulus check. That he paid for it. He paid for everybody's stimulus.
Are there people that, now I know he had his name signed on it, but do people actually believe the stimulus checks we received came out of Trump's bank account? Are you saying that?
Came from his bank account. He came out of his pocket. I was told this. That lady that you had, I forgot her name, the older lady that you had on,
Mama?
is proof. Mama is proof. This is what I listen. This is what I sit at. I'll sit at a bar and I'll sit there and take a sip and I'll just listen to crazy, like deranged things. Like Trump is still in office. He's still in office. He's still running the military. He's still doing X, Y, and Z. And then you ask him, okay, so what do you think about him taking the troops out and leaving all that? No, that was Biden.
Yeah.
The double talk to me leads me to believe that
it's not. Everybody has already drawn a line.
And let me add on to what you said, because Modern Ragnar in the comments in cap says nobody believes that. No, I've talked to numerous people. The lady he's referring to that I talked to a few hours ago in the program said Biden is not even alive. That's a stunt double that is running the country. So yeah, people do believe this stuff. Maybe not a lot of people, but there are people that believe this wild stuff. I've had several callers come on and tell me that Biden is no longer, Biden and Hillary Clinton are not even alive. That people do believe that.
Unless you hear it like how you have on your live, people won't believe it. That's the craziest to me. When you come on and you say JFK is coming back from the dead, it boggles my mind. It's like, okay, the last person I know that came back was Lazarus. Who else do you know? So who raised him? That's the thing. No answers, no nothing. So I'm gonna land my plane, man. I know people trying to get in the box. When you're talking about a speech, yeah, he was a little out of it. Biden was a little out of it. I think he still made a good speech. I think he still made some good points. I think that at the end of the day, Biden would make a better leader because Trump literally said, we're going to try to rewrite the Constitution. We're going to try to take things out. Stop me if I'm lying.
No.
Okay.
And I think that's one of Trump's biggest problems is it ain't the economy, because liberals ain't complaining, but it's the things he say. I want to be a dictator for one day. Maybe we can subvert the Constitution. He's making some pretty awful quotes that folks are having to defend and twist and turn to make it sound anything other than what he actually said. And yeah, you're right. He did say that.
So when are we going to hold that? When are we going to hold him accountable? What is the point of what he said? If it doesn't matter what he says, you're still going to vote for him. Then how could you possibly be mad with anything Joe says? If it doesn't matter that he's trying to rewrite the whole Constitution, how can you say you're a patriot? If he says he's going to let all the people out of jail because they're prisoners of war, but then he talked about is it John McCain, who was a prisoner of war?
My war heroes don't get captured.
Dog. I don't understand. War heroes don't get. I'm not making none of this stuff up.
No, you're not.
It's just unbelievable to me. I'm gonna leave it. I ain't trying to drag down your stuff, but just make it make sense to me. People in the comments, make it make sense.
All right. Appreciate it, Beeman. And on the other side, in regards to his comment, make it make sense, the simple answer is folks believe that Trump has a better direction for America than Biden. And based on that notion, they don't care what he says. If you believe at the end of the day, he's going to restore Christian values, protect the Second Amendment, protect the sanctity of life, make it so you can afford groceries and gas, then you're going to be okay with him saying anything he wants to say. And I think that's where we're at. Not to say that Trump is actually going to do all of that, but I'm giving you things from a devil's advocate standpoint. This is what folks believe. They believe that Trump has the best direction for this country, and they don't really give a damn what he says. And I'll tell you why they don't care what he says, and I'll go back to the box afterwards. Fact is, Obama could give you the exact same policies and legislation of Trump that MAGA favors. But if Obama was doing the same thing that Trump is doing, $2 gas, not a lot of world conflicts, but while Obama was in office doing the same thing Trump is doing, he was criticizing and insulting gun owners and Christians, I don't think MAGA would ignore that. I don't think they would pay attention to what he does, not what no. The reason folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, my right-wing voters, the reason folks are suggesting pay attention to what he does and not what he says, because the insults ain't aimed at them. It's easy to overlook what somebody is saying when they're not talking about you. It's like going to a comedy show and the comedian is constantly attacking somebody else. Then you're likely to laugh with the comedian as well and laugh with the rest of the audience. But if you're sitting there and all the jokes are aimed at you, it's not as fun. You're likely not to laugh as much. And that's why the liberals are more focused on what Trump says than the Republicans because he's not insulting any of them. He's insulting the folks on the left. Looking in the comments, please be honest, Tim. Obama ain't the right color. Obama's not the right color for what? Look, there's going to be people who don't like Obama because he was black. I'm not disagreeing with that. However, you think Obama could have won by that margin without a significant amount of white voters? Racists are going to be racist. There's nothing you can do about that. But Obama received a ton of white voters. Obama won states that have also been red. So I got to call it from both sides. I think we need to stop saying Dump had low gas prices. Carlos, you're not going to start. You're talking about Trump. Dump. In regards to saying that Trump did not have low gas prices, that's not true. Now, we can say that he inherited a great economy from Obama. We can debate that. But under Trump, certainly the first 2 years of his term, gas prices were low. And then, of course, during the pandemic, when nobody's driving, it went down even less. Now, that's not Trump's fault, but it happened under his watch, and he's going to get credit. No different than if all of a sudden we had a pandemic, now closed everything down, and gas prices went through the floor. It would be a lot of liberals that would be talking about under Biden, gas was $1.50 a gallon. Everybody takes credit for the good, no matter if they're responsible for it or not. And when something bad is going on, everybody tries to shift blame. Trump did it his entire term, took credit for the good and blamed the bad on somebody else. The liberals do the same thing. Going back to the box, real quick in the comments, no president changed fuel prices, and you've said that before. Why change now? Zilla, I didn't say any different now. I don't believe Biden alone is responsible for the gas prices, just like I don't believe Trump was responsible for the drop in gas prices. I'm simply saying if it happens under your watch, you're going to get credit for it. Because we say that Biden is not responsible for gas prices going up. Now that they've went down, guess who's taking credit for it? Biden and Kamala. Anytime they're on TV, they often mention gas prices are going down. They're taking credit for it. But when they were up, well, it's not my fault. They sounded like mystical. It ain't my fault. I'm just saying that's how it works. It's all politics. Going back to the box. Modern Ragnar. Top 5 viewer. First time I've ever seen that. Modern Ragnar. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. I appreciate that. Top 5 viewer. And for some reason, the box is not letting him in. I'll definitely give it time to materialize. Unemployment is the lowest it's ever been, says Hot Sauce. Yes, true. But with the inflation rates being up, salaries are up pretty high under Biden too. But the problem is the high inflation is masking any of the benefits. But Biden absolutely has some accolades. Fortunately for Trump, Biden doesn't have the rally schedule of Trump. I don't think he can hold a rally schedule of Trump. So Biden is not out there constantly promoting the good he's doing for the country. When Trump was president, he was constantly holding rallies telling you how great he was. Biden does have accomplishments he could talk about. CHIPS Act, infrastructure bill, defending Taiwan, weakening Russia. Although MAGA would never give him credit for it, is a huge accolade. I get a lot of folks, and I'll go back to the box, but I get a lot of folks, well, Biden is a weak president, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin sees Biden as a weak president. I'll tell you what, that makes absolutely no sense at all, particularly in the case of Vladimir Putin. Let's assume that statement is correct. Trump loses, Biden gets the presidency. Vladimir Putin seeing Biden as a weak president. Now is the time to attack. You think Putin thought 2 years later they would still be dealing with the Ukraine under a weak president? Should be a cakewalk. We got a weak guy in office now. This should be easy to accomplish. Obviously, with the assistance of Biden, the Ukraine has been a hell of a foe. The war has went on a hell of a lot longer than Vladimir Putin ever expected. thinking America had a weak president. You think Xi Jinping of China is not noticing that? If he hasn't noticed it, even after the Ukrainian war began, Biden got on Air Force One and went to Taiwan and stated on the world stage, if China comes in here, we got their back too. Biden is not a weak president on the world stage. You can twist it and turn it, but dead people are dead people. Dead people don't lie. Period. Russia has lost a lot of shit thinking that Biden was a weak president and now is the time to attack. How many tanks, aircraft, actual soldiers has Russia lost in the last 2 years? Thinking that we got a weak president in America and now's the time to act. That has really went bad. And now he goes to Taiwan and tells China, if you do anything, America has their back too. That doesn't look weak. It just doesn't look weak. No matter how you twist or turn it, Russia, nobody wants to be like Vladimir Putin right now. They don't look weak. I don't see. Now, Trump made it clear to Kim Jong-un at one point he would kick some ass too. But Trump's was words. Biden's has been action. Biden has caused the death of so many Russians that you got Russians that want that shit to come to an end. That don't look weak. There's no way to make that look weak. Looking in the box, or better in the comments, Mr. Freedom says, nice try spinning it. How do you spin dead people? How do you make having to institute a draft look like a victory? How do you look at what's going on with Russia 2 years later and tell me that Russia is winning in any way, fashion, or form that fits what should have happened? Ukrainians was a small country with a small military, yet they're still pushing back 2 years later. Do you really need to spin that? Do you really believe that Vladimir Putin anticipated this would be at this stage, this later on in the game? You're telling me Vladimir Putin planned for this? He thought, now's their time to attack. We got a weak president in America, and we can spend his whole term at war. 10 months from now, Biden's whole term will be over with. You think Vladimir Putin planned that ahead of time, right? That's what you're trying to tell me. Is that the spin? I would submit you're spinning and don't want to state the obvious, but when it comes to the Ukrainian war, America has been very strong in helping out the Ukrainians. Looking in the comments, or better yet, the box. We'll try it again with my boy Modern Ragnar real quick. They winning like we won in Afghanistan. No, because we didn't fight in Afghanistan for the same reason. It's a different type of war. The Afghans were not fighting for their very existence. The Ukraine will be annexed, will be taken over and occupied completely if they lose to the Russians. Crimea and Georgia are already perfect examples. If they lose, they don't have a country no more. We never had a plan of making Afghanistan a U.S. territory. That was never going to happen. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you see me?
No,
I can't see me.
and I can't either. Something's wrong with the box, but I can hear you.
Man, that's unfortunate because I wanted to bring up the actual tweet that Trump put out that had nothing to do with taking away the Constitution or changing it at all. His whole spill on that was based off their evidence of fraud. They decided to throw it out without looking at it. That takes away any rules, regulations.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you and say this. If you want to put it up, you can. I won't be able to see it, but apparently TikTok has you on there, so everybody can see what you put up. So what you got?
Oh, they can see it? But can you blow up the screen? Because I can't see it and I can't read it from here.
Yeah, I can't
see it.
I can't see you, but they can see you.
Okay, can you blow up my screen for me?
I can't do a damn thing. I don't have any control. You got it. It's yours.
I can't read it verbatim from here. Unfortunately, this is really hindering my
Let's try this.
situation here.
Let's try this. Go ahead and drop out. I'll give you the floor. We'll try drop out and I'll bring you right back up. All right, I don't know. The TikTok does this. We'll give them a second to pop back up on the guest request list. And I do see Winter Trump and FSU and you folks in there. But let me go ahead and try it again. Okay. All right, there we go.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Pulling this up. Man, TikTok's been rough lately, hasn't it?
Right.
All right, let's see here. Come on up, baby.
The problem is with that small box, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to see of it, but go ahead. You
I'm
can.
pretty sure now you can blow it up, can't you? You can blow me up.
Yeah, if I knew how to do that. Yeah, I don't even know. Well, you see, I see the word expand popped up. What do you tell me what you got though?
All right, let's see if I can read it from here. Oh,
All
you
right.
expanded me? Did it work?
Nah, I don't know what just happened here. Yeah, I don't know how
Said
to.
you expanded. There we go.
Okay, all right. I've never done this before, so I'm in new territory.
Here we go. So, with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democratic Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type of magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Great founders did not want and did not condone false and fraudulent elections. This did not mean that he wanted to throw out the Constitution, so stop the rhetoric. With that point, as a matter of fact. Now, with the gas prices, you were right. Biden just tweeted that we're working hard to lower your gas prices and energy costs. It happens. Now, we know that's not a fact because they have no control over that. And that's just, and so here you go, all you TDS.
Hang on, give me a let me. I'm actually.
Liberal, I'm sure.
Give me a second. I want to glance over what you got up there. Okay, with the revelation of a massive and widespread fraud and deception. By the way, that's a lie. That has not been proven by any. All the courts deny, including his own administration, Attorney General Barr and Vice President Mike Pence, all deny that massive and widespread fraud and deception happened. So his own administration says that's not true.
Well, that's also everyone working against them as a
I can't listen. He the one that appointed his own attorney general. He appointed his own vice president. If they're working against him, then he's a poor employer.
Do you know why they're working against him? Because he didn't have their best interests. He had the American people's interest at hand, which damaged the government's pocket. They don't like that. Of course, they're going to band together.
Well, but I go back to my original comment. As president, you are, just like I said, when you wins and losses, if you're the coach, you take credit. If you put a bad player on the team and they're playing for the other side, you're responsible. You need to be fired as a coach. You don't get to put in a vice president or an attorney general that's not working properly for the country and then blame them. You hired them.
You know you're going to be wearing that hat here soon. I promise you're going to be on.
All right, let me read a little bit more, because the fraud and deception, like I said, that's been widely disproven. And working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and Democratic Party,
because they haven't even looked at the paperwork. Do you remember them saying that paperwork was thrown out before it even was put on the table? They didn't even look at it.
I don't know, but like I said, when you start out with massive and widespread fraud and your whole administration is saying that's a lie, that really hurts your credibility with the first sentence.
But that's his belief, and he has every right to believe that, just like Hillary did.
Yeah, but I'm not going by belief. I'm going by people who actually looked into the election that you hired to do it. And even in Arizona, they hired a third-party company that came back and said, you actually lost by more than you think you did. These aren't liberals. These are people that he appointed that are continuing to tell him, even though you tried to find the most fair and unbalanced company to look into this, sir, we got to give you bad news.
Right, but that's a fair point. But does that mean he told everybody, the American people, that he wanted to change the Constitution or abolish it? In the statement is what they pulled that off of.
Okay, well, let me look at the rest of it. Well, didn't he also say something like sometimes you got to suspend the Constitution? He never said that?
No, absolutely not. I've looked everywhere to find it because I would have to disavow Trump wholeheartedly if he said something crazy like that. And I just looked for it because I disprove. Because what research is isn't to find information that goes towards your narrative. First, you need to discredit yourself. Try to find information that goes against your narrative. That's called research. A lot of people don't do that. They look at Google, find something that goes that fits their narrative, and they go for it.
Okay. I'd have to look at it. I do believe you said it, but maybe you're saying you didn't. I'm not in a position to look it up right now because I got both of my devices on this live. But like I said, once you start out with the claim that massive and widespread fraud and deception happening, And your own people. These aren't liberals. Your own people. A lot of Trump-appointed judges. He can't find one judge in this entire country that agrees with that. That's a problem, man. That's a big problem.
Anyway, I gotta get out of here. Just got off work. Handsome liberal, you, my undercover conservative brother. I'm sure you're there. I know you're really close. You know, it takes a couple of us to get up here and give you some wisdom. I know you're a smart man. Unfortunately, you're on the wrong aisle. I know you're about to be on the right one here soon, but I give it about a couple weeks.
Give me something to go on, and you never know. Appreciate you coming on, though.
Much love, man.
Hey, you too. Go ahead and drop it, because I don't, like I said, I'm in new territory. All right, there we go. Like I said, I need to see evidence. And in regards to the 2020 election, the idea that everybody that Trump appointed personally are all lying against him, it's hard to swallow that. That his own vice president that would have been entitled to 4 more years as VP and potentially a chance to run for president in 2028 just decided to lie against them. I don't see any evidence of that, other than making up some reason why he wasn't credible. Same thing with Attorney General Barr. That guy's been working with the Republican Party since the Reagan administration. He just decided to lie against Trump. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you want to say some liberals are against Trump, we can debate that. But these are people he went out and hired himself. Judges that he vetted and then appointed to the bench himself that are all saying he's not telling the truth. You got to make up something for that not to work. You actually have to come up with some type of conspiracy for that not to work. This isn't Nancy Pelosi. These are people that wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for Trump. And we have to make up reasons why they lied on him? It doesn't make sense to me. Looking in the comments, don't vote your rights away. I agree with that, Poncho, 100%. Why did he give false information? Research isn't mental gymnastics. I agree with that. Make it good again. MIGA. Okay, all right. Republicans who investigated voter fraud and said there was none. And that is my issue. McKinsey and Heidi, love the name. And that's what we're talking about, is that there are way too many Republicans don't have a liberal bone in their body that said Trump did not lose or did not win the election. The election was not stolen from him. And all of them are being denied credibility. That doesn't make sense to me. That falls under the category of make it make sense. How long-term Republicans, highly respected in the party, are just losing credibility because they don't think Trump won. Let's go back to the box, though. Dave Taylor. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Dave. Hopefully it lets you in. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. Dave Taylor, good evening.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What do you think? You think Trump won and they took it from him?
No.
Okay. Why do you think so many people think otherwise?
You know, first time joining in with you here. I've been watching you for quite some time.
Appreciate it.
I'll start off with saying, man, I really appreciate your work trying to get common sense out there. There are a plethora of misnomers and false information out there. It is so hard to find out what is really true.
I agree.
I think that Trump really appeals to the common American that is desperate for leadership. And as soon as he showed that he wants to make America great again, it was sold right there.
But when you hear the phrase "make America great again" in 2015 when he announced he was running, what aspects of America were not great that they wanted to become great?
You know, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not a real political person. I am a third-party voter. I don't really like.
Let me just. I'll let you continue, but for you folks in the comments, because I don't have access to a machine, X just popped up and said golf legend Tiger Woods something. What happened with somebody? Just let me know. Hopefully the guy didn't die. But go ahead. You're not an esteemed political specialist, but keep going.
By no means.
Okay.
No, by no means. I tend to vote with the heart and my gut intuition. But the big left and right parties, I think they're both so corrupt that I'm not sure that there is any saving them.
But if it comes down to those two, where's your vote going?
Third party,
So you're not going to vote for Trump or Biden at all.
neither.
Who'd you vote for in 20? Who did you vote for in 2020?
In 2020,
Yeah,
I did not.
2016.
Obama.
Obama didn't run in 2016. You had Trump and Hillary.
Oh, excuse me. No, then that would have been another no. No vote.
Okay, so you voted for Obama twice then?
Yes.
Okay. Did you vote for Bush at all during his time?
Yes, I did vote for senior, but not junior.
Oh, okay. The reason I'm asking, I wanted to see where you're. So you, is it safe to say you lean a little bit more left and right?
I would say that I am a lot like me and not much like other people. I don't really want to be stereotyped.
Okay. Well, I could go in and ask you how you feel about the Second Amendment, women's right to choose, and things like that. I'm just trying to figure because you're costing somebody a vote. I just don't know which one because how you voted. But I mean,
and they both going to get some right. I think that women should be allowed to do what's right, but I don't think.
What is your definition of doing what's right?
For their body.
Okay, all right. So you're costing Biden a vote by voting independent or not voting at all.
So I would say, yeah, sure. I would say that it's a woman's choice, and I think that everyone should be allowed to have a firearm, but there is a certain level of stupid that is out there that says that you shouldn't have a gun.
Yeah.
So, but I refuse to be really categorized as.
I get it. So, I mean, you seem fairly reasonable. So at the end of the day, you don't support either one. You don't. Now, you clearly said you don't believe the election was stolen from Trump, though.
No, he lost.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't see anything to push back on other than if it comes down to Trump versus Biden, not voting for either one of them, I don't know. You haven't voted for either candidate in a while. You said you didn't vote in 2020, didn't
That's
vote
correct.
in 2016. Wow.
No, man, I hit the request because I wanted to come on here and tell you kudos for all the hard work and effort that you do every day.
Yeah.
Coming in here, putting this in the public's face, putting some common sense to it. And I just need to give you a pat on the back and say thank you, brother, for being out there and trying to educate the average person. I appreciate it.
Much love. Thank you for that. Anytime, come on back through. Appreciate that, man. All right.
Oh, you're very welcome. I will hit you up again undoubtedly.
Thank you.
I do definitely enjoy your show.
Appreciate it. I'll give you a follow, man. Thanks. All right. And by the way, listen, we don't just have lives by coincidence. Most of my lives I do plan up to including the topic. I keep a big ass notebook. There's literally so we do put a little work into it. I like to deliver a program with some decent content. I appreciate accolades like that. Certainly appreciate them hats and mustaches and all that shit that pops up. Want to thank you folks for all of the compliments you give me as well. But yeah, we do. I'm always, when I'm planning a topic or whatever, I know my MAGA audience, my beloved MAGA. I know what liberals think, and I'm usually when I'm working on what we're going to discuss, I'm prepared for those questions or those pushbacks. And, well, what about Black Lives Matter? Or what about Hillary? I know that stuff's going to come up. I know it's going to come up. So that's why the notebook is always on hand. All right, looking in the comment section. And I appreciate you folks that are following. By the way, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, like my last guest pointed out, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, because we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Doesn't have to agree with the host. Nobody gives a damn if you agree with me or not. We let you speak. It's all about free speech. It's never about trying to tell you what to think. It's always about listening to what you have to say. So if you enjoy that kind of dialogue, I implore you follow the program. I've seen you a long time now. Your stance has softened. You are seeing strange things happening too, says Pookie Butt. A lot of that Pookie Butt sounds like a 3-year-old. Got Pookie Butt, changed my diaper. But how am I softening in regards to seeing strange things? I will tell you this, which is why I push back on folks suggesting that the economy is in Armageddon state. When I started my live off, I've been doing this for a couple years now. Like I said, we don't have a monitor, so nobody's getting blocked, banned, or censored here. But when I started, I was very critical of Biden because the economy sucked. We're not in the same economy in 2024 that we were in early 2022, which is why I now push back against folks who say, well, he's going to destroy the world if we reelect him, because the economy is creeping towards better. There's no way you're paying at the pump the same thing you were 2 years ago under the Biden economy. Things have gotten better. If you don't support Biden, the job is not to give him credit for it. Just like folks who don't like Trump, you're going to hate him for everything, no matter if it's good or bad. So when I started out, I was hard on Biden because everything cost a fortune. Whether he was responsible or not, he was in power and it was happening under him. We're not like that anymore. So when folks say, well, you softened. I didn't soften. My money's going further. I'm not paying as much as I was for grocery 2 years ago. Yeah, it's still a little bit more than it was under Trump, but it has gotten lower. Anybody telling you otherwise is lying to you. You're not paying $10 for a dozen of eggs anymore. Things have went down. It's okay to be honest no matter who you want in power. You're biased when you lie about it. Looking in the comments, it went further under Poppy. I don't know who Poppy is, but that's because it's become closer to the election, modifying, tweaking things to manipulate the populace. Look, if you can save me money on groceries, I don't give a damn why you're doing it. It's just like folks who tell me, well, you know, Lincoln didn't want to free the slaves. I don't care. I'm free now. I don't care why he's doing it. I don't care why the price of fuel is coming down. I just want it to come down. If he's making it come down, then I'm happy that that's happening, because let's be clear, if Trump got in office and the price of fuel came down, you wouldn't give a damn either. You just want it to come down. So it's coming down under Biden, so the guy gets credit for it. Just like when it went up, I don't want to hear all the intricacies of how it ain't his fault. It's going up under his watch. I was holding Biden accountable then. I'm going to give him credit now. That is what fair judgment is about. Otherwise, it's just as unfair as the way they judge Trump, suggesting that he actually inherited the Obama economy, so he couldn't get any good credit. But then when the economy started jacking up, they give him negative credit. That's not fair either. The economy is getting better under Biden. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's happening. Looking in the box, Elon Musk rat. Assuming you're not an Elon Musk fan. Yes. Wait, say you seem confused, host, why the prices are coming down on some things. I don't care. I'm saying that if everything went up, we'd blame Biden. If everything goes down, he gets credit too. All of this, well, look, you got to blame this on corporate greed, or you got to blame that on Saudi Arabia. It's happening under your watch. It's happening under your watch. I'm going to start out with the guy who's running the country. It's his job to get all of those other entities under control. He's the leader of the team. If the quarterback is pissed off at his ex-girlfriend or whatever, I don't want to hear that for why we lost. You need to call the quarterback up and tell him either you dump that broad or we're going to the second string. That's how it works. I don't want to hear all of the sausage is made stuff. Just give me a good piece of sausage. And I know that didn't sound right. Elon, good afternoon.
Hey, buddy boy.
Hey, good afternoon. Good evening, rather. So what do you think? Folks are saying that the man in office now is not our rightful leader, that he stole the job. Do you believe that?
Oh, yeah.
How did he do it? How did he do it?
Stole it.
How? What did he do?
How does anybody steal anything? You just take it.
So you're saying Biden, who was a regular citizen during the 2020 election, had enough power to steal it?
Oh, yeah.
What about in a Republican state like Georgia? How did he get a Republican governor to give a liberal the presidency?
Well, there are blue counties within red states. I live in Tennessee. Nashville
Davidson County is a blue county within a deeply red state. So, yeah, I mean, you can pull off stuff if you got it coordinated good enough. You know, I mean.
So what about the Republican governor?
That's how I think it happened.
Yeah, but how did a Republican governor look into what happened and come back with Biden winning? I mean, wouldn't a Republican governor want Trump to win?
You know, you make a valid point, sir.
So what about the claim, not the claim, but the actual filing from Republican electors that they actually are guilty and tried to steal the election? A lot of them have pled guilty to election theft.
Well, you know, you can bring, I mean, prosecutors can indict a ham sandwich.
No, we're not talking about indictment. No, wait. We're not talking about an indictment. Wait, hang on. We're not talking about an indictment. We're talking about guilty pleas from other lawyers. They've pled guilty to it.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to explain my position. Prosecutors can indict a ham sandwich, and when you're looking at all of these massive bills, I mean, the state is paying for the prosecutors, and then
You got a noisy background.
regular citizens who have to foot the bill. And so I think they're copping pleas and pleading guilty just to end it all. You know, I've seen that happen multiple times. That's basically the way the American justice system works these days. You know, you got criminals and their lawyers will plea it out. I mean,
Yeah, but let me say this.
bargains is the way things work.
Yeah, but you're talking about some very well-established lawyers with a lot of wealth. We're not talking about a petty criminal that's pleading to avoid a long sentence. You're putting these folks like Sidney Powell, Trump's direct lawyer. You think she's just taking plea deals to something she didn't do?
Yep.
Why?
We see people of wealth doing that all the time.
No possibility at all.
If you're being politically targeted, a lot of times it's in your best interest to take a plea deal rather than, you know, have your life held up for a couple of years and have your money depleted, your wealth depleted. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Is there any possibility at all that they actually are guilty and they're pleading guilty to something they actually done? Is that impossible?
Oh yeah, they're probably guilty.
Then they're pleading guilty to something they actually did.
No.
I don't get. You're saying they're probably guilty. I'm talking about folks on the right that pled guilty to trying to steal the election.
Again, you can indict a ham sandwich these days.
So you're saying
evidence on your side, you know, you can make it happen.
So you're saying the fake electors is 100% false.
What's that now?
So you're saying those who are being convicted in the fake elector scam, that is 100% false. They're all innocent.
You're gonna have to back up a little bit and get over to your left, man. You went too far.
Okay, Eli, I'm gonna have to move it on, man. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to move it on. You got way too much going on in the background. Looking in the comment, I wanted to talk to him, but yeah, he got a lot going on in the background. But his claim is that every fake elector, Arizona, Michigan, the ones being charged in Georgia, they pled guilty in Wisconsin. All of that is phony charges, and they're all 100% innocent. And they all just took guilty pleas because they couldn't beat the government. Now, he is correct. The government does oftentimes get folks who are completely innocent to plead guilty to get less time. But that's got to be based on something. Is there any evidence to prove or show that all of these fake electors are innocent? Because that's what he just said. Now, he's right. You can indict a ham sandwich. A lot of innocent people that went to jail or did time, they took pleas because they couldn't beat the courts. But that doesn't happen as much to actual lawyers with huge incomes. Rudolph Giuliani or Sidney Powell, that's not George Floyd. This is somebody with a ton of money. All of them are taking guilty pleas for crimes they didn't commit. Of course, as always, with a lot of the claims in regards to the 2020 election, There's no proof of that. There is zero proof of that. And there will never be any proof of that. That all of these electors are innocent and they just took pleas to avoid jail time. I don't think you'll ever see any proof of that. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you folks tuning in. It was a quick, brief live. Catch you guys tomorrow. And you folks on YouTube, I appreciate you tuning in, but it is dinner time. See you guys later.